Folks, welcome back to Whims of the Creator. I'm JB, joined today by Schwartz
Hello?
and Spyro.
Hi.
And today we're talking about the green cards in my first ever custom set project. Out of all the colors, green definitely got the most weirdness. Some of it we've preemptively taken care of for your viewing convenience. How about we start off with this first card and
Before we go ahead,
yeah.
judging from the last part, yellow, the vibes are totally Weiss, even though the actual color is Swartz.
Yes. This will not change. A side effect of the way that I have built cards and the way that I have experienced Weiss as primarily a Hololive player, and then how I've experienced Arknights as like a fanfic writer, is that it just feel the setting itself is very Schwartz, but the way that I write it is just so Weiss. As I said, it is very much reflective of my experience with this. Do you want to go ahead and read this first card, Schwartz?
Sure. Indigo, Thread of Radiance. It's a cis X power level. Cis. And when you play an event, you may choose a character in your waiting room, put it to stock. Not much to say.
Yeah. It
Ah!
I feel like the flavor definitely makes more sense when we start talking about the reason she is one of the characters in the first set. By itself, the effects aren't particularly her necessarily, but the reason she's here is because she is a supporting character in the story of the most important character of Arknights to me, my primary waifu, Blue Poison. Indigo, along with another friend, Glaucus, are kind of her primary support network, and they were only released after I got into this game really hard because of Blue Poison. You can blame Blue Poison for me being here talking about Arknights today, and actually kind of Weiss customs in general. Because if it weren't for her, I wouldn't have actually had a property to make a custom set for. So, yeah, you want to get into why this effect is so sus, Sparrow?
I don't know. It's an effect that you cannot decide if it's too good or just fine or not, because there are technically like very old cards like Alpaca that can just get a stock every turn, and this has like an extra condition. But in theory, you can trigger this on both turns, so to get two stock every turn, and that's kind of the whole point of this color in general, as we'll see later. So
Yeah.
it's very sus. And I'm not sure how much does this even cost. So we are already brainstorming like alternatives for this.
Yeah, that's why she gets the minus from me, unfortunately. This card needs to be super good because I mean, look at this art. It deserves to be a double rare. It needs to be good. Not this good though, especially because as it turns out, this set isn't crazy stock intensive, and you could probably just stock compress to hell and back, especially because green makes it super easy to loop events. Let's actually get into the event loop target of choice. So this is Blue Poison in the artwork. This is hold her hand, give her confidence. The 1/0 backup event. If you don't have a character with Blue Poison in its card name, this card cannot be played from your hand. On play, you arrest one of your standing characters, aka the one that's holding her hand. If you do, look up the 3 cards from the top of your deck, choose up to 1 traded character from among them, reveal it to your opponent, put it into your hand, put the rest in your waiting room. Choose one of your characters, any of them, doesn't matter who they are. That character gets 1k power, and on attack, pay 1 twin drive. I could go off on any number of tangents, but to stop myself, Schwartz, does this feel like a flavorful application of the concept of holding Blue Poison's hand?
I can't tell.
I feel like this definitely. I mean, it has a hand symbol on the card now, because it's a counter.
Wow.
And you do have to rest someone that has to hold her hand. typing out negatives in Morse code.
Talking shit to you.
How far we've fallen. Oh god, yeah, that.
I'll leave it at that.
Fair enough. Sparrow, how do you feel about this version of a card before we go into the might have beens?
Yeah, this is fine individually. Like resting is potentially annoying depending on what you have. You need to have back rows that you can just leave standing. Pretty much, this is not a problematic card individually. And as said, this color has like a lot of ways to sort of benefit from playing it over and over, and that's the main thing that matters here, especially compared to what this was changed from, which is the actual really sus part.
Yeah. So, the original version of this card was it showed up a little bit in stream. I think I don't think I played it much. I know that Hayes built a bar deck. I think he built standby bar to play around with it a bit. That version was non-recyclable. It was climax compression, direct climax compression. That was the primary function of the card, with a secondary, if you happen to maybe, shuffle a climax and a couple of characters from your waiting room back into your deck, you also can give a character power. That card was patently insane, and it took several years and several people telling me, yo, what the fuck are you doing with this card, to change my mind on it, which is an important lesson for anyone at home for like any creative pursuit. Don't be afraid to just murder your favorite things. If you've grown way too attached to something, you sometimes you just gotta pull the plug and be like, all right, no, we gotta start this over. This is the main reason this card is getting a plus from me beyond the flavor profile. It's just because it took a lot of effort to get me to move off of the old profile. And it took me like 10 minutes at most to come up with something that is more fitting, both for the character and what I want the effect and the set to be doing with it. Yeah. Thanks for being the final push on that.
Yeah, the main thing that annoyed me was not as much the effect itself, which obviously was potentially very broken, just getting climaxes into your deck for free. But it annoyed me that because it was so strong, it had to be like something that goes to your memory. So it would actively all of these cards that we will see later that want you to play events over and over, they wouldn't even get to work with the event they are supposed to work with because you would run out of events. Yeah, so that was the main part that annoyed me. This is not really related, but since you talked about murdering your darlings, I actually did that as well recently. In the last attempt we had to record this, at some point I brought up my high card set, and J3 said that we should review it one day. So because of that, I went back and looked through the entire set just to see what regrets I had. And I had a mechanic in this that where I would increase the level of characters in the deck in order to grab them with stuff that say, oh, grab a level 1 or higher, or and that thing was extremely it wasn't even a natural mechanic inclusion. It was basically just me trying to make up for making a different card intentionally worse. When I looked back at that, I realized that there are like 3 or 4 cards that potentially accidentally break because of the bonus level in the deck. At some point, I remember I went to like a random card and I gave it like a really random effect, like when this is reversed, put it in your waiting room so that it doesn't stay until the encore step when the levels are increased. I was reading them and was like, okay, instead of giving weird as random effects to a bunch of cards, I'll just have to make the hard choice and say, okay, I'm gonna just ditch the entire idea and just rework all of the cards designed around the level boost to just do something slightly different. So yeah, I just edited like the 4 or 5 cards that cared about the level boost, and I removed it completely. And then I removed all of the pointless effects from the cards unrelated to it. And now I think I have a much more believable set now, which is a good thing, I think. But it is very much a murder your darlings situation.
I am happy to already be providing the kind of support I was hoping to provide. That's awesome.
Yeah, I guess that's a little sneak peek if we actually do the set review.
Oh, it's
At any...
practically guaranteed at this point.
Okay.
My custom set is full of darlings. Oh god.
Yeah. Yeah, Schwartz's take on Arknights is it's an incredible feat of mechanical engineering, and I mean that in the mechanical engineering sense.
It's like
It sacrifices the vanilla aspect.
for some reason that made me think of that video on YouTube that's like I made a computer in Magic the Gathering or something.
I can understand why the concept would. It never gets that bad. Luckily, it's just that it's so very good at adapting like the actual character effects. That may actually be the primary reason no, it is literally the reason I leaned so hard into story beyond just my personal experience with the set. Because I remember when I was first shopping around, like, hey, I have an Arknight set, and Schwartz was like, oh, hey, by the way, I'm working on one too. It's like, oh, cool. And then he showed me some cards, but it's like, oh, I will make sure not to step on your toes then. So I did not. And now we have a very much Weiss take on a very Schwartz property. Speaking of takes on the property, let's get into a profile that's basically just a very silly, not even a headcanon
Holy shit.
package. Yeah, I'm not gonna make anyone else read this either. This is Priestess Gone Not Forgotten.
You're gonna have to pay someone to read this.
That's topical. So, this is a 4K fusion target. If it has... Let's start with what it does on play. When this card is placed on the stage from your hand or by fusion, she is a look up to 3, add 1. Perfectly fine level 3 effect on play. If you would pay the auto cost for one of your operator or support characters in your hand or stage, you may put a marker from underneath this card into your waiting room instead of a card from your stock. But wait, there's more. All of your operator and support characters get 1000 power and the following effect. Auto. Pay 1 and put this card into your waiting room. At the beginning of your encore step, if this card is reversed, you may pay the cost to salvage an operator or support character. I'm gonna let the two of you go off on why this card shouldn't be the way it is.
I don't even know what to say about this. Like there are so many little weird phrases here that I don't know why they are here. Why does this say auto abilities from your hand? There are no such things as far as I know. It was to the point where at first I thought this let you just play characters from your hand for no cost, because I was like, what else would hand mean? And then we also have like this amazing effect here where you put yourself into your waiting room during the encore step if you are reversed, which is the time the reversed character would go to the waiting room anyway. You can't even like fold it too much because it doesn't gain markers on its own, but it's a fusion, and fusions are notoriously easy to just put on the board. So I don't know. Like this card is very much like it just creates this thing. I cannot fathom like the possibilities this opens up are so many. Like I'm not sure whether anything is insane or if it's just like fine and it will be sometimes useful. That's why I say error in my text here. It's like I don't know. Like the machine has broke.
Weiss machine has broken. Come back later.
Yeah. In terms of suggestions, even if we assume that the first effect is fine, I would say at least have the second effect be a simple pay 2 when you die to get the salvage, which is an effect that exists, instead of this weird pay 1. If you are reversed, you also have the extra fake cost. You don't even really need that. Like, it's not like this already lets you replace the cost with its markers, so it's not like you're desperate to make this a pay one salvage.
Yeah, so just like I wonder if you could maybe even shortcut that process. Just like make this a like you leave the first effect, you change it so it's not obviously dealing with something it doesn't have to. Maybe you even just get rid of both of those. You make it a 1K global for trait, and then you give it an auto ability that says pay one stock, remove a marker from this card. When your other character is put into waiting room from stage, you may pay a cost if you do salvage.
Yeah, if we're going by the murder your darlings logic, I guess you can go for that. I'm just saying, like, this could potentially be not too broken. Like, I'm not sure what to think about it. The first of it is like, okay, I'm trying this cool idea I had. I want to see if it works, and I think that's fine. It's cool to encourage some creativity. Like, I've had my fair share of really weird experimental cards. But then it's the second effect that really being like having this very random like optimized cost
Yeah.
that really throws me off. Like you read the first effect, you're like, fine, I'm gonna tolerate this because it's experimenting, and then you also receive this weird effect, and you're like, why do you have to do this too? Like, weren't you satisfied like with the first effect? I don't know. I'd say like bare minimum, you wanna try just making this changing the auto to just pay two on death salvage and see if the first effect breaks anything, and if you feel like it does, then you can change it to what you said.
That sounds good. We'll start with the simple solution and we'll see what happens from there. Yeah, what's the flavor error? Oh my god, I love that. I love that clip. Anyway, yeah, tell us about the flavor error. I can go into more detail if you need be.
I just can't process this. That's all. My custom snippet does have effects that are basically text walls, but still.
Yeah, this goes a little bit deeper than a text wall, unfortunately. Priestess is a character that, at least as far as global is concerned, we don't know too much about. I've seen some spoilers from the Chinese server, and this idea just straight up doesn't work anymore for a number of reasons. So as far as like killing your darlings, this is probably the actual perfect card to talk about with this, because like there's so much that just has to be different about this card. The original baseline for this was that several years ago, in the Stone Age of Arknights lore, we didn't know very much at all, and what we had seen from like translated spoilers and whatnot kind of led a person to believe that the AI, the company Rhodes Island, which is the main protagonist organization basically, Rhodes Island has an AI called PRTS, which does a lot of their admin stuff. It's one of the closures' big projects is kind of keeping that AI running consistently. Because of that, and the fact that it's named PRTS, there is a stretch of a notion that I put together that, like, hey, PRTS, Priestess, these two are connected somehow. I want to do a fusion. I wanted to do something that isn't just have markers sit under a character, because that's the thing that bothered me about all the fusions I saw, because there weren't that many in English at the time, was just that they had these markers, and they weren't doing anything. They were just there. At the time, I didn't get the concept of, like, compression in and of itself being like a natural like good. So I was like, well, I want to use these markers for something. So I put together that first effect. That second effect was to give it something to do with the markers, and then the third one was, oh, level 3 is have level 3 effects. That seems important. So like,
Yeah, I get the logic for sure. I know I also struggled with that when I first started. And the very first card, like literally the first thing I ever saw from Weiss was the Gurren Lagann trial deck, and that trial deck has the
oh
like
god,
classic archetypical fusion where you take Gurren and you take Lagann and you combine them into Gurren Lagann.
Yeah.
It doesn't get any more basic than that. And yeah, I remember being like, why does it have all of this extra text to say that they become markers? Well, what's the point? I wasn't mad about it because I have like a strange personal obsession with the idea of cards going underneath cards for some reason. Even like in stuff like Yu-Gi-Oh, I really like Xyz monsters just because cards go underneath cards. I don't know, that just fires all of my neurons for some reason. So I wasn't mad that it did that. I was just like wondering why does it get all of those markers and does nothing with it. Then I understood like all of the compression stuff, obviously. But again, I guess Gurren Lagann also had the upside that a lot of the marker cards were very thematically appropriate. Even if you didn't know compression, you could figure out, oh, okay, it's because it's the pilot inside the mecha, because they had other cards that were like, you had a Gurren, but you play it and it gets a Kamina as a marker. You're like, oh yeah, Kamina rides Gurren, that makes sense. For a while I was like, okay, it's just like a flavor mechanic. That's what I thought for a while.
And then what makes this worse is that there was a previous version of this card. This is a card that Death Punch in the Discord server literally like broke over his knee just because the old version of this could get 3 markers with the fusion, because the fusion required you to have one guy on board and also optionally you could grab a guy from a waiting room as a 3rd marker. It's just like, oh yeah, no, this is ridiculous. And then I saw his like he put a picture in the Discord of just like, yeah, this is what I managed to do with this. That's like, oh dear God, no. We have to stop this. You can thank him for it being slightly more sane, and then I can thank this review process for reminding me how important it is when you're reviewing something, review it with a sense of like objectivity, and don't be afraid to just like axe things. If you can't figure it out, if you can't explain that process to someone, especially in a game like Weiss, where all the custom stuff is very like, you can follow the trains of logic to get power lines and stuff for like a properly made set.
Yeah, like you
Yeah,
shouldn't.
even I would do that.
Yeah, you'd never want to be in a situation like, especially in Wise, where everything is very calculated. You never want to have a card where they ask you, what did you do to come to this conclusion? And you say, I don't know, just kind of felt like it. You want to have some sort of train of logic, even if it has like a weird effect like this. You want to have some sort of approximation of maybe, okay, this is how I got the idea for that. But yeah, obviously, you can always experiment and try to keep it logical. Like, you want to at least be able to think about all of the immediate possibilities. Like with this, there is no immediate, okay, I know exactly why I have this effect. It's more of just, yeah, we have this effect here, just go ham, do whatever you want with it.
It's free
I
real
don't
estate.
know. Even like, obviously you're gonna miss that. There's going to be interactions you didn't understand because there's so many cards that you made. But you should be able to at least say like, okay, that's the general idea of what the effect is supposed to be doing for the set. And here it's more of just like, okay, here's an effect that sounded cool and it's potentially really broken, and I have no idea in what ways.
The next time you see this card on stream or whatever, it will be changed. How extensively will be determined through a lotto. I'm gonna get like a wheel, and we're just gonna put some effects in a ball. We'll see what happens. And also, the actual method, which is gonna be some like playtesting, some staring at cardboard. The usual. Yeah, that's where I'll leave it for now. Moving on. This is the fuser. Indeed. This is Perdis, Echo of an Old Friend. When she's placed on stage, you choose up to 2 of the level 3 in your waiting room. Put them at the bottom of your deck. Fusion, you can choose any robot trait character, which currently is 3 targets, as set aside here, to do the fusion.
It's a fuser. It's a little weird because it's any trait, and I don't know how they would balance that if it would just be 500 power like you have it here, but it's certainly a fuser. An alternative, I think I said that the other time, a potential alternative to avoid the headache of what trait only fusion would cost is to just take these 3 robots and just give them all of an extra line that says this card's name is always treated as a robot or something, and then set this fuses with specifically a character named robot. That's like a potential workaround.
Yeah, right.
Just for the sake of not going through the headache of what fusion would cost if it needed just any trait. Oh, and also I think this might be an older. I think this is an older version of the card. This still says that you can put up to 2 robots from your waiting room. At least the actual card.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, so that's actually the previous version. The previous version got you 4 markers.
Yeah. That's the one that Death Buns, I think,
That's
posted where he was doing some crazy things.
That's the one that he shredded into the ground. Because yeah. Oh god. Well, I'm gonna figure this out. I might not even actually. I'm not that down bad for a fusion setup anymore, just because I've continued to make cards, and like, God, I've had some fun with fusion in another set that I may talk about.
I don't know,
This
Fusion
doesn't need to
is
be it. It's
very fun, to be fair. I really like Fusion.
Yeah, it is a fun mechanic. It does not make as much sense for this set as Forza's question mark and my own both kind of symbolize. Because that's like, why this card?
Yeah, to be fair, like one of the main things I like about Fusion is approximately how flavorful you can make it. Like if you see, I have 3 fusions between my 6 sets, and all of them are like obvious slash funny. Like everyone, as soon as they look at it, people will be like, "Yes, this is something that I wanted to be a fusion." That's a complaint I've had, like even from real fusions, that they've abandoned the concept of actually making it something that makes sense to fuse. Like even something like Robocop. I don't know why that's a fusion. Besides, they just wanted to make it a fusion. Whereas if we go back like to the very first thing I ever saw from Weiss, like Gurren Lagann, that one has Gurren combining with the Lagann. That's extremely on the nose. That's like, yes, that's Fusion 1-1. That's why Fusion was made for. This sounds like a fusion in its purest sense. That's the reason I enjoy fusion when it's something like that, because I don't know, it's just very fun to have fusions that are actual logical fusions. But yeah, I get it that this might not make any actual sense.
Yeah, I can actually just make this a minus though. I will find something else for these guys to do. We may not even actually need Priestess in this set, not gonna lie. There's a number of things that will change. This set is still in flux. Next time you see this, we may not have any Priestesses at all, or we might have like some different forms of them take that make more sense and don't scramble one of my reviewers' minds. I do need to keep the robots though for future purposes, so let's go ahead and talk about the robots.
Alright. Sis 500 power. Rest this card, choose a character, that character gets an uncle.
Is this like the most land set thing ever?
I'll give it.
This is what she does in White Shorts. This is what she does in Arknights. I don't know what to tell you. That does not mean that it's a much approved of effect.
Okay, the problem here isn't the effect, it's more that it's randomly overcosted. Like, this is the budget here allows this to be just a rest, this card. Doesn't need to pay a stock, because it's choose a character, give it Encore cross turn. That's like equivalent to giving 500 power cross turn, which would be 1000, which is how much this would have left after the assist. So yeah, no, this is randomly overcosted. That's the problem. Because I think without that, it basically becomes like a nice little utility card you can play if you have a big guy you wanna absolutely make sure doesn't die. I don't know if you have something like that in the set, but that would be the function of something like this. It's very similar to the cards that exist that say the character in the middle position gets encore.
Yeah.
It has its very specific niche
Yeah.
if you make it like have the correct cost.
And that definitely is a niche that there's places for it in this set. Probably makes more sense for future sets that also have characters that care about these robots. I can think of one particular character in set 2 that loves having her around specifically. Let's move along to our next robot.
Castle 3. When this card is placed from your hand, you may put the top 3 cards of your deck to your win room and return this card to your hand. When you place the climax, pay the cost. If you do, choose a character and that character gets 2k. I'll just say it's flavor. Because all he does in the game is give that buffs.
The gimmick
So-
with the robots, right, is that they're like, you don't have to use a deployment slot on them. They take up like a team slot, but they don't take up like space on your field, technically. So what this guy does is he just kind of, you throw him on the field, he takes like a few hits, and then he dies, and then he's a robot, so he takes a long time to like redeploy and put somewhere else. And because of that, he's like the least used of these robots. But that doesn't mean he has to be the least used Weiss character in this group.
I mean, yeah, this is perfectly reasonable, just standby bounce back profile. Very typical in that sense. Doesn't do anything special with the idea, just is a standby bounce card.
He sets up your waiting room when you play him, and then you can just make a guy huge when you play the standby. Bada bing, bada boom.
And open room for your standby target.
Moving along.
Example EX. Feel the passion. Put the card in your hand, your way room. When this card's put in your way room from stage, pay the cost. You do look up 4 cards from top of your deck. Choose up to one level 1 or higher card from among them. Put your hand, put the rest to the way room. Negative flavor. He doesn't explode.
Oh yeah, right. We talked about this. Yeah.
Yeah.
He could probably be a bomb. This stuff. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
It's yeah. This effect is a good effect to exist in sets just to fix problems. I guess it doesn't have anything special about it.
Yeah. And
Uh,
for that reason, and because there already is an Azusa in the set, and I would rather make you work a little bit to play that card than just have this here and it be negative flavor.
it's not like
Be a bomb.
it's not a direct like upgrade or whatever. Like there are mindsets like this is considered like much worse than the on-play versions because this has very different timing. This is something you play turn 1 to mill or like late game you use it to go very minus to fix your deck or to grab an event if you're playing events. That's the usage for this. It's very different from the deck speed filtering machine that is the on-play versions of Azusa, even the restricted ones. There isn't a conflict in terms of having both of these effects in the same set. It's more just, yeah, what you said about this having a very obvious different flavor you can go for.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I did some digging. I found a much more goofy combination of effects that fits exactly what he does in game, which is you put him on the field, he blows up, he deals some damage, but his primary job is just make it so your other guys can kill the thing faster. The next time you see him, he'll be a lot more interesting to use, that's for sure.
I mean, the fact is good old fashioned good. Just not on this robot specifically.
The passion is not felt here. It will be. On that ominous note,
When this card is placed, oh, it's just a hill. At the beginning, climax phase, if bar is in the climax area, this card center stage. You have 4 more other characters, road silence or operator. Choose up to 2 characters in your main room. Return up to 2 cards from among them to your hand. The rest to your stock in any order. In terms of flavor, I don't know that much about her, so
in the game, she is weird, like as a unit. In the story, though, she's kind of like Blue Poison's friend. And yeah, as far as like flavor goes, there really isn't any particular tie to anything for it. This is just kind of a profile that I wanted to see in Arknights context, so I put it in.
Yeah, this is Canada, but it's on bar. And it also has the Canada changer, which is the next card. Yeah, no, conceptually that sounds a little terrifying, but I don't know if this set actually has the infrastructure to care about it or not. But it is still terrifying just conceptually. So it's getting the high rating, but I don't know. I don't think we have tap counter if I remember correctly.
We do not.
So that's one of the big payoffs for Canada. So that definitely lowers the potential power of this a lot. But it's on a bar, and Canada wants to loop anyway, and you're putting it on the best climax for looping. So I don't know. That is a little scary.
Making this work actually has been a little bit of an interesting challenge. Maybe with the current version of the event, maybe with a couple of profiles being changed here, there, and other places, maybe this set actually sees a super important use for the just sheer amount of advantage this combo provides. The primary existence for this is Galactus is super important to Blue Poison as a support character, and so obviously has to be on a bar. I remember people going crazy with Canada Marine back when I first started getting in. I never played Canada Marine. I still will not play Canada Marine in any event just because by this point, why would I play Canada? I play 8 door. It's so easy. Caveman could do it. But I definitely get why people were freaking out about it in the HoloLive context, and maybe it gets better. It's a familiar profile to me. It's in the set.
No, yeah. What's funny is when Canada was first revealed, like when we just had the cards, no one thought anything whatsoever about it. People was just like, "Oh, okay, it's just like a random combo to fill out the trial," but they did not care at all. Like on release, everyone was hard on the Russia combo. Like that was the main thing. Everyone was like, "This is the combo for this."
Oh, wow.
You just play the deck that summoned Russia and just loop heals because the trial deck Marine healer works when summoned with Russia, and then you could loop summon different characters with different utilities. It was pretty fun, honestly. It was pretty unique as far as game plans are concerned. And then, I don't know, at some point, someone made the discovery that Canada is apparently really good. I don't know, it just took me completely by surprise. I remember like the Zen 4 trial deck was the least bought for a long while. And I knew that because I wanted to buy it for Luna. And I was like, okay, but I remember that, okay, there was absolutely zero issues with the sorteds because it was like, okay, no one actually cared about anything in the trial deck, in the Zen 4 trial deck. And then suddenly I see that now Canada is apparently like a big thing. And I'm like, wait, it's weird because I play like very off meta weird decks that don't really matter for the meta and stuff, and just I'm trying to find the funny things that people don't notice or whatever. So I very rarely hold like meta cards in my hand, you know. And in this case, I had the Zen 4 trial decks because I bought them for Luna. So I was in possession of meta cards. I had the Canadas in my hand. I don't know, that was a strange feeling for me.
That was me on top of just seeing that and going, I'd rather not. And then playing like a Watamarian was my choice, or Coronamarian.
Yeah,
One of the
just
two.
that's what I call that's what I said earlier. That's what I call just a simple wise deck that is just trying to wise.
Yeah.
It doesn't do anything particularly interesting. It just does the thing you have to do.
Yeah, and it's good because Marine
Yeah,
is just good. that's the
yeah,
that's the
yeah. Like
beautiful part.
for decks like that, the metric is basically just efficiency. If you're not doing anything wacky, the best you can do is optimize as hard as possible on doing the basic wise thing, and Marine does a pretty good job.
Yeah. Well, we had a lot of things to say about Glaucus here. Really, more Canada as a phenomena. We don't really have to give the same courtesy to this card. We don't even necessarily need to read it. I mean, like, yeah, we'll just move right along.
Blue Poison, lying in wait. Stock, put one character from the waiting room at the bottom of your clock. When this card put in the waiting room from the stage, pay the cost. If you do, choose the event or character and your waiting room and return it to your hand.
She gets the event.
Okay, yeah, that's the main like reason you would play this. Like this is a pretty basic sort of low quality Ricky effect, quote unquote. But it has like the slight upside that you're getting the event, which maybe makes this worth using a couple. I don't know. It's fine.
I feel like that in the wake of like Rockwork and stuff, people have kind of forgotten, even though this is like an era I missed, but like Salvage Rookie is absolutely a profile that is still good and something that I find myself
It's definitely
needing,
good. Yeah,
like
it's just
legitimately
always
needing at times for certain decks.
no.
Like, God.
It's definitely good. It's just it's definitely quote unquote the low quality variant, I guess. No, to be fair, this is grab everything. Like back in the day, the sort of hierarchy of now I'm saying like on play rig is the classic rig. The hierarchy was you had your search a level on or lower, then you had some really weird ones that would search a specific character name, and then you had
Oh, wow.
salvage ones that grabbed the level one or lower, which were the worst ones by far. And then you had ones like this where it was on play, Ricky effect, salvage any character of any level. They had a unique niche of not being completely dead later on. Usually the way you want to play Ricky's made the salvage a less favorable prospect, but it's still definitely not bad at all. I guess it depends on your deck.
In the same logic that like a salvage brainstorm, people find more like attractive than a search brainstorm. I feel like
Yeah, it's the opposite logic actually because with the salvage
that's fair.
brainstorm, the idea is that by the time you use it, you
Your
are
target's
you
already
have more
there.
waiting room.
Yeah. That's
And
fair.
also, and it's more of a psychological thing, but they also have this sort of panic that they will mill the one card they wanna search. So they want it to be a salvage Ricky so that they mill the card and then immediately grab it. Salvage brainstorm.
Yeah.
Whereas for Ricky, the logic traditionally is I play this at my second turn to get a copy of my climax combo that is probably still in the deck. That's
Yeah.
the classic logic anyway. Like obviously like a lot of the classic logic has been thrown out of the window in recent years, but it is what it is. This is like perfectly fine. Honestly, I can bring it up to just a normal C. It's perfectly fine, but it's usually not the preferred thing. I know like on death is definitely good, but I don't know. This has more values as something that's selective. So I don't know if I like the on death timing there as much because when it's like grab the top cards or mill four, on death makes sense because it's like something you play out and then it dies and it gets the deck going. This has selectivity, so in theory you care mostly for the ability to grab specific things when you need them, and in those situations the on death timing is more awkward.
True. Yeah, that's fair.
But at the very least this can keep grabbing itself, so it can give you like an infinite attacker
Yeah.
if you are low on playables.
That was kind of like why this card is doing that, because I was trying to find like a loopable thing, just because like I did not, back when I was first making this set, and barely understood like what was good and what was bad, and Weiss just like I needed a card like that because I was having such trouble just like getting
It
things
was
to stick on board. So
It's definitely fine. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know if it's better than what we have already.
yeah, there are admittedly other ways to get the event, like this next card.
Oh, you're right. This.
Blue Poison, Princess and Frog. During your turn, you have another character. This card gets 3k power. Put the top bar stock to your waiting room, or put one bar from your climax area to your waiting room. When this card attacks, if bar is in your climax area, pay the cost. If you do, choose this card and one of the other characters. And this card get the following ability. When the battle Pokemon is reversed, you may choose event or character in your waiting room and return it to your hand. Doesn't give any flavor vibes either.
Yeah, this card is definitely more about the profile than anything.
Yeah, this is the Luna combo. This is something I have a lot of experience with. This is a very fun combo. I really like it. I don't know how I feel about it being on a bar because there is actual like anti-synergy of losing the effects compared to the stock suit that Luna had. But I don't know. This is just a very fun profile. Like I really like it when you can play just one down and get two pluses with one card. So you don't have to sculpt an entire hand of your combo or play other things. That was my logic anyway when I was playing Luna. So the bar part, having the bar definitely hurts this in that aspect. But it's the good trigger. People want to see the good trigger. So I don't know. It's probably gonna work fine. It still has the option to pay stock, which it's definitely more awkward, but it could still get the job done.
Yeah, I haven't actually gotten too much playtime with this in the sim yet. I tried playing this back when I printed off the set, by the way, just play custom cards on sim. Print it out maybe when you're like super sure that it's balanced and stuff. Don't do what I did. The idea being that like, you know, you have an 8/5 swing, you pay a stock, you get reverse on that, you give a second copy of the combo, the on reverse, and then provided that your opponent's lane setup is like it's not like a pile of Kishi bays or something, you can have that first reverse salvage, use the second target, give it to the other copy of the combo, it reverses the thing that it's across from. At that point, if you haven't triggered a climax, you can offer the climax on the field as a tribute, provided that you're still going to meet the power lines.
Yeah, that's
Didn't quite
Yeah,
explain the
yeah,
line
that's-
the way, but it's like 2 caps of this combo, 3rd guy off lane, 4 pluses off of clearing the board. And the fact that this is bar, it's a little bit trickier. Like, the idea being that
yeah,
you can.
it's absolutely way more awkward. Like I can say that, like you're losing a lot of your soul push to go even for that line. And just so you know, like Luna is a stock tool. With the stock tool, you can do if you wanted to do the line you said, you can do that, and you don't even need any stock because you're getting the stock from the stock tool. So yeah, I feel like this profile I liked a lot, but I'm very very iffy on it being on a bar.
With the bar, it does get a lot more reach, and also with its own power condition. Luna is like small for a non-reverse
Yeah,
combo.
yeah. Obviously, yes.
She has like
Luna
some
is very
support for it,
small.
but
We have support because that's not a problem. Like this has a much stronger power condition anyway. So the
yeah.
bar, and it's not like the bar was going to help it that much because best case scenario, you're giving up the bar on your second attack. So you're only benefiting from the bar for one lane. At that point, you can't cut you cut your losses and go for a stock shoot anyway, just to make this a lot more workable, I guess. I know this set has like support for 8 bar. I
8 bar
feel
is
like
kind
you
of much.
don't necessarily miss this. Like there is I know there's the one card that turns into bars. That card is mainly for the finisher though, as far as what it provides.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I think you can get away with changing that since it actually needs some changing anyways, as we will talk about. Just going for the stock shoot for this one. But yeah, we'll talk about it more
yeah, I just realized
when we get those cards.
looking at the power condition again, I think this is 500 over spec.
Yeah.
Yeah, it needs to be 4K. The Luna gets away with being 5.5 because she has the drawback and it's just a 500 combo. This power condition cost 1K.
Yeah.
I feel like I fixed that in a previous version and then did something and unfixed it. So, well,
Yeah,
we'll
it's
see.
fine. Even that, like, that 7K, just pure Luna combo sounds amazing. Honestly, it doesn't need to be on a bar. Like, it just makes things awkward.
Different strokes.
Yeah,
Moving right along.
Yeah, back up -1 soul.
yeah, it is what it is.
No
It's
flavor.
usually power crept by what we call the Emilia backups, which is anti-chains with a similar cost. But I mean, it's fine if you need it.
Yeah, it's a minus because I did end up changing it after testing this again. Because it turns out that like this set kind of would really appreciate having something to deal with early plays. So I know the Amelia one is probably also the exact same text, but
Yeah, it's
the
the same as
Atla one,
the Puff and Ang.
yeah,
It's the same card.
it's just gonna be that in the future. It does a little bit more. So yeah, unfortunately, -1 soul backup. You have been replaced. A card that will not be replaced, however, is this next one.
Speaking of early play, Indigo Lighthouse Guardian. You have 4 or more characters this card can currently play. When this card is placed on stage, just heal. When this card attack, pay the cost. If you do, choose this card and another character. Those cards get 1/5 power into end turn. Nothing of note here.
Spyro, on the other hand, does have notes.
Yeah, this is just it's a pretty simple early play healer. There's nothing weird there. What's the B? That's what the B is for basically. The smiley face is because of the third effect, because it just reminds me of an old deck I played that I really like, which is the Levi squad deck. And the finisher in that deck has the same power effect with the pay one, give 2 characters 15. I don't know, just there is no specific reason I like the effect. It just reminds me of that deck, and I really like that deck. And that's about it.
Yeah, for actual like, I think that you actually can use this to like get another turn off of your level 1 combo off the blue poison, which in hindsight is like kind of a cute another way of
I mean,
saying
yeah,
like, hey, look,
that's usually the idea. Ideally, you want to give like the second reverse to something big. That's usually how it goes. I was playing like the big 2-1 Lunas from the trial, like that get to 12-5 and at 2 soul attacker, like it's something really ridiculous. power lines.
Uh-huh.
Just to use them at level 2.
If they didn't make themselves level 0, I would play standby and play them in it. I get very scared of level 0 bombs these days.
Yeah, that is certainly a problem these days. Yeah.
Good times. Nostalgia. And this card also just hits good feelings for me.
Blue Poison, Twin Shot. Put a card from your hand to your way room. When your character's trigger check reveals a bar, you may pay the cost. If you do, deal 1 damage. Once stock, put a card from your hand to your way room. When this attack, if bars in your climax area, you have 2 or more characters, you may pay the cost. If you do that damage, this card gets 3k per bar. I might give this a plus. Just because it's something to do with poison damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think I had a pretty good suggestion for this actually, which is I think you said that this character has a sort of flavor of having a double shot or something.
Mhm.
Yeah, twin shot, it's in the name. Since the first ability wants you to try and find bars to get extra damage, I said that it would make a lot of sense if instead of gaining 3000 power, you can make it be 1000 and twin drive. I don't remember the exact conversion, but I think it's something like that.
Right.
That way
Because
you're
it's like free twin drive would be like 2k-ish versus like
free twin drive would be too much. No, I think the logic is more so that I don't remember if twin drive takes the opponent's turn cost with it. You know what I mean? Like if it takes 2k because it would be 1k cross turn.
Oh, no, it doesn't get cross
That's-
turn. So it wouldn't
Yeah,
be
yeah.
either.
That's I'm not sure because some effects work like that where even though it's not cross turn, because the effect doesn't matter if you get it cross turn, it will consume the corresponding cross turn cost. So it would be 2000 instead of 1000.
Huh.
I'm not sure, but it would be something like that. It would be either 1000 twin drive or 2000 twin drive, and I just think that makes the card a lot more fun because I mean you don't really care about this much power anyways. Doesn't make a huge difference, and it would play more into the twin shot idea, and it would help you trigger the bars that you want to trigger for the first effect.
Back when we first
That's
talked
my
about this,
suggestion.
I definitely agreed with it. However, I think I'm going to stand by this card being the way it is. The twin shot now lives in the event. The reason the event gives twin drive is like covering that sort of niche basically. Like you can hand that twin drive to all of your blue poisons because at least when I use her in game, that is constantly what she is doing. That twin shot skill is constantly active. She is constantly hitting 2 people at once and hitting them with that first effect, which is the she gives like damage over time. And what makes her just so incredible is that damage over time is not physical damage; it is just straight up damage, right? So like, it just clears through guys that you can't otherwise kill. There's a whole host of event enemies that are like, oh, you don't deal damage to them; you have to deal hits to them, and those stacks of poison count as hits. Yeah, I feel like now. Originally, I was like, yeah, no, sure, twin drive on the combo. Now we have the twin drive in the event, which you want to be looping anyway, because now it's designed to do that. It's designed to be loopable. So the twin drive can live there, and blue poison can be here.
Yeah,
and
sure.
maybe what actually happens is I just
you could
drop some of
could
the
even
power
just-
condition to drop some of the power because it doesn't need that.
I mean, no, it's fine. This is an extra little effect. Like that doesn't really matter. What I thought is if we're going more of just we're trying to get events, use the event for everything. You could since this doesn't use too much power anyway, it's only 10-5. You could just give it a bond to the event, like a normal bond, because you don't have a normal bond to the event. It's all it's bond indirectly through combos or through Rikis and stuff. This could have just a normal ditch bond on play
We
in addition,
we do have that
to what it has.
in the set. That is a card.
Do we?
We do that. Yeah, it's an indigo.
Wait.
Yeah. We'll see here in a few cards, but yeah, we do actually have just a strict event bonder.
No, this is deck bond. You could go for us. I was thinking the salvage, the ditch anything salvage version. I guess because I'm not seeing the lines in practice because in my mind I wanna be stacking the twin drive on everything with this, and I don't know if even the infrastructure definitely allows you to play a event per turn, but I don't know if you can get three of them for three finishers, and it's not unprecedented. Like there are like old cards that do that, where they just grab the event as a level three with just as a normal bond. Yeah, this might be more of a case of me really liking my idea, and I just really wanted to be that way.
That's fair.
But I don't know.
Legit, that is completely fair. Is that not a level 3 effect if it does that? If it's grab, like,
No, only if it's
like free?
if it's free, that's
Then
the
it'll be
level three effect.
okay.
This is I'm saying like the actual Dits bond. Like there are cards like this, which not when I started. This was more of just like I was messing around with in Weiss fight, which is like the dueling book style emulator.
Yeah.
And this is like one of the first things I built completely on my own was a deck centered around in ReZero members now around the this ultra fire weapons no bunny giant name event, and the whole point of the deck was to just use that to deal damage. But the way you do that is by using this level 3 that bonds to it, because I guess they thought it was that powerful or something, even though it wasn't. I guess all I'm saying is that there is the idea of having your level 3 bond to your thing normally exists conceptually. So you can put it on here. Especially hits me because it's twin shot, like it's part of the name in here. It's not just, oh, it's in general things it does, which I guess it is.
Here's the other fun part about this card, right? Um, this isn't when this character triggers. This is when any of your guys trigger. So what I've had happen is
Yeah.
I've just been swinging with dudes, and like a twin shot has been in the back row, and she just gets the ping. Like it doesn't matter. You can have one of your guys trigger bar, and then just all right, unleash the volley and just pew 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 pew.
Yeah, that's pretty much how this usually works.
Like
Like
you need
the
one guy to hit a bar. You don't,
yeah.
and because it's only one time per turn, like you don't
Yeah,
need
I'm
any
just
more than
in
that.
my mind. I'm like, I want to maximize the chances of triggering that bar. You know.
I think that I would have been like that a while back, but at this point, it's like, oh, I have played with so many of these. It's like it is so much safer to just like quit while you're ahead. We can stop at the ledge before the cliff catches up to us.
I think like these are not that broken. I think this is a very fun style of insert.
Oh
The
yeah.
I have a baseline, and then I help you go into an extra potential bonus. But anyway,
Love
that's that. We could potentially go on a rant about Fafnir, but I don't know if we want to.
Now we're fine.
Um,
we, the bonk has happened. I agree. We can move along. From
yeah.
the finisher that is kind of like what this is all kind of built up to the sort of ammunition for that crossbow.
I'm just gonna skip the name. Oh, you have a blue poison princess and frog, or blue poison twin shot. Get 1k power. Your climax has a climax with bar in its trigger icon. This card gets bar in its trigger icon.
Yeah, at least to me, this is blue poison and the girls. That's about as much flavor as it gets. They help with the comp with the blue poison stuff. Move along. Nothing to see here. And then we have the glowing review. It's terrible. You should run for.
Yeah, this is a quote from Rankin Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't remember exactly from which video. He obviously said play 3 of it because it was Yu-Gi-Oh! But that's pretty much the sentiment with this card. There is absolutely no good reason for why this is the thing that gets bar trigger. There is no value of hoarding this in your hand. Like the effect's extremely niche. Like I don't know why this is the thing you have as your ammunition, but you gotta play it because it makes the things are more consistent. It's also overspec because of the bar effect as it's written right now. It would need to cost 1500 on its own because it's a generic bar for any bar.
Yeah, so the change
Uh,
that happens on top of the power, because I did already decide, yeah, we can do better. Is that this just becomes an on-play pitch trait draw?
yeah, that's fine. That's a decent utility.
Yeah, gives you a reason to actually
Yeah,
like
yeah.
do something with it to loop it.
And I guess the only other thing is that potentially, if we wanna, depending on what changes you wanna make, if you wanna change the level 1 blue poison combo to be a stock soul, just because of the awkwardness, you could then make this only become a bar when you have the finisher climax, which would make it cost only 500 at that point. So you would also have a much stronger card in terms of body.
I think.
But yeah, that's if you want to go down that line, that's something you can do.
I think even with just like a 2 or more pitch draw, you still, even with that, you'd still only get back to like 1500, right?
Oh, I thought you meant it's a character drop.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like pitch traded character
That's,
draw, right? Like that still costs
okay,
like
yeah,
1k.
no, it's a character draw. That's only 500. That's much. It's considered a much weaker effect.
Oh, I'm thinking of
The on play, if you have 2 or more characters, draw on this one. That one is 1k.
gotcha. I'm thinking of like yeah, I'm thinking of like the Toka, but I guess I had the. This will be fixed to something that's reusable ammunition. I'll get back to you on what that actually looks like. You've made some very good points. A card that I don't think needs as much consideration.
Poison kiss.
I love her voice. My God. Anyway,
Poison kiss.
Blue poison. Doral effort. Put a vent the hand to your waiting room. When this card is placed, you may pay the cost. If you do, salvage the character. Pay 1 rest. Reveal the top card of the deck. If that card is a Rose Island or Operator character or the event, put it to your hand.
This art just brings me joy. It's from an official manga that they did. They had her like making like a cake for the doctor, and it was just like, you got to do the special thing for the doctor because he'll like it. And it makes me so happy. Anyway,
You thought I'd run out of sounds. I have that one.
very important sound effect to have. I just kind of live with that in my head.
Any comment on the effects?
It definitely has effects. I don't know what it's. I don't know what to tell you about those effects. They are certainly effects that exist.
I don't feel like changing it, but like it just kind of is a profile. At a certain point,
Oh yeah,
the
it
counts
is a
as just
card. I don't know.
cards.
It just is a card.
We can move right along then.
Oh, this is.
Blue poison, cake to die for. It's assist. Yeah, this character facing this card cannot move to non-position on the stage. And a brainstorm. Deck brainstorm. Yeah.
We have another partner. Yeah, someone wrote Stan. Okay, it's not overspec technically. It's not overspec. Like this
Because
exists.
it's traded. That's why it's not overspec. It's because it's traded with a Fafnir's generic. Alright.
Yeah, it's not overspec. The thing is, it's just the Fafnir is a rest 2 brainstorm, which you have to convince people a lot more to run compared to tap self brainstorm. That's the first thing. And the second thing is that's the main thing. The thing about the first fact is that in theory it does not matter if we assume that the opponent is playing exactly like they're supposed to, like they have downloaded every possible scenario, they're playing with perfect robot accuracy. This effect does not matter. But because we're playing against humans, this effect actively forces your opponent to use their brain in order to play around it. And because of that, they are running out of brain to do actual good plays with.
It's
That's
also a brainstorm. Coincidence?
Yeah. So yeah, basically you're attacking your opponent's brain directly with this effect. What I said the last time is that if this goes for emotional damage, if this hits you directly where it hurts. I don't know. So it's very strange. Like theoretically you cannot say that this is broken, but it does create this weird scenario specifically because it just sits there and does that forever.
Okay, you sold me.
Yeah, that's absolutely that's the best part is that like because of that psychic damage, it's so much more flavorful of a card. Like if this was just like, oh it's Fafnir because the set wanted to do like on reverse and brainstorm shenanigans, like, no, you don't understand. The reason this is psychological component card is because this girl terrifies the shit out of everyone around her because of her poison generating ability and her toxicology ability, and people flip the fuck out whenever she's just around because they're like, "Oh God, she's gonna fucking poison us to death just by existing." And meanwhile, she's just like, "I made this cake and no one wanted it because it's like this garish bright blue color. Like it tastes delicious, as anyone who actually eats it will tell you. But it's this like bright blue poison dart frog neon, and it just freaks people out. So I appreciate this all in the
This is
flavor.
big brain time.
It works so well. It works so well for flavor. And as for
this is a very it's weird. I don't know. I don't know what to think about it because on the one hand, it's theoretically not broken, but I don't know because this is a better brainstorm than Fafnir. You will actually see this a lot more.
Yeah.
And the psychological components will come into play, and I can totally see this being like banned out of respect for
Oh my god, ban list.
for the community or something. I don't know. Just
if we get
just to make like a public apology, we respect our players' mental health,
oh my
so
god.
we're going to ban
Apology.
this card.
Oh my god, I love the idea. If we get to the point where we can run custom tournaments with ban lists, I will be so happy. And I will gladly put this card on that one just to
Yes.
save space. But like when I built this card, I legitimately was not like super like I was just like, oh, this kind of makes sense for like, the combo lineup or whatever my 2022 brain was thinking. But looking at this now and having played against it with Hades and lost because this card forced me to like think and I couldn't think because I'm me, and also I was playing a deck that needed me to think about the positioning with this in mind. Like, oh my god, I love it so much more. And the fact that it's the waifu card is just like perfect. No notes, 10 out of 10. We did it. There are plenty of notes. It's fine.
And it's fun. Yeah, I want to see this like succeed for what it is because I have like I talked about this. It's a personal like goal of mine. I want to see the day where we can play a Stan in White Source, and this is like the closest thing we have to Stan pretty much. The Fafnir version of this anyway.
You play this, you play counters, which this set actually has a lot of. I think Rhodes Island might actually get you to some stun and Weiss, not gonna lie. The thing it doesn't have is tap counter, which is like for the safety of all humanity. The set is not getting tap counter. But like you can get pretty close actually.
Yeah, okay. We're gonna talk about because I've made my personal attempt at Stan. It's a lot more reserved than this. I didn't wanna like do just a permanent Stan because that doesn't feel very fun. Again, this is like fine theoretically as long as you think, so it's okay. But if we're actually going into literal Stan territory, I just locked it behind a combo. And I'm just like, okay, maybe that's enough. But yeah, I don't know. This thing will be very funny. But I don't know. It's what they said earlier. Weiss does not really have a lot of opportunities for messing with your opponent, and when it does, it's usually extremely expensive and niche in when it's usable.
Yeah.
Which is why I also don't like the super generic hexproof cards either, because they sort of limit the already limited opportunities to interact with your opponent. So I don't know. I just want to see how far can you logically push, like interact, having your opponent actively like think about what you're playing, because it's very common in Wise where you don't even know what your opponent is playing. Like you don't even read their cards. They're just kind of using them, and you hope they are doing it right.
Yeah. Yeah, Weiss kind of has that Yu-Gi-Oh, the modern Yu-Gi-Oh syndrome too, where it's just like you and your opponent walk up with your decks. You're playing decks at each other. If you're playing in a tournament or you're playing with people you're used to, you might actually remember, be like, all right, I got to play around this because I remember the last time this guy beat my ass with this, and it did this XYZ. Or like, if you're preparing for a tournament, you study up on the meta decks, you prepare for that. But like the average like Friday night at
Well, that's
locals,
the
where like
thing,
I'm
like-
walking up with like Grisaya and my opponent's sitting there with Memory Snow, and it's just like, what do you do? I don't know. What do you do? I don't know. I guess we'll find out together. And then you throw cards at each other and you see what happens.
No, that's the thing. Like in something like Yu-Gi-Oh, even if you don't know what your opponent does, you are actively punished for it. Like you will have to pick up the cards and read what they do because they actively interact with you, even the lowest tier decks.
With negates and
In
stuff.
Weiss, you
Yeah.
can easily go 20 games with having no idea what the heck your opponent is playing, and you won't feel the difference at all.
Yeah.
Like all of your opponents could be cheating for all you know, will be making effects up, and because of how the game flows, no one would even care to double check if what they're doing is correct because that's just how this game works a lot of the time. So yeah, that's sort of why I have this personal project of trying to see how much we can make your opponent care to read your cards.
We will.
But anyway, yeah,
We'll see that
that's
project to
that.
its fruition.
That's that interview.
Yep.
It's not that. Yeah, we talk way too much about this, honestly, so it's fine.
It's fine.
Gave
Yeah.
the card flavor, man.
Yeah. You convinced. You sold shorts on it. All right.
Right.
More blue
Blue
poison.
poison, splash down. When this card is placed on the stage, you may choose one level 0 or level card in your opponent's stage, return it to their hand. Pay 1, put climax from hand to a room. When this card is put on the stage, in your hand make a cost. If you do, choose climax in a room and return it to your hand. Well, this is back to this.
Yeah, there is a slightly more
Yeah.
flavorful version of this that this actually will become, which is why I'm going to put the minus. But as this is, this card is still
Yeah,
good.
it's what we said. You will change this to just the one that kills when you have just one character in center stage. Yeah, this the reason I have this as a C instead of a C plus is because the first effect is the current one is it's so specific, it's so niche that I don't really know if it's going to matter at any point in time. So for all intents and purposes, this is just vanilla climax swap.
Yeah, like the most that I've seen this do, because I think I have seen this kind of effect actually be used in other sets, is like you clear a direct lane for something. In a set like a Rico or
that's
something,
the only
then
thing I've seen.
100%. But this set doesn't have the like a Rico card that makes that happen, so it's just kind of there. Whereas the newer version will have like at least it'll have that same sort of situation where it's just like, oh, it's a climax swap with something, but it'll be flavorful because of the blue poison line, which asks you, hey, you want to see me melt the dead body? Which is just like, yeah, sure. I'll watch you melt the dead body. Why not? It's Friday. That sounds interesting. When in reality, you're just doing it because, it's blue poison asking you. Anyway, brain. Moving on. Glaucus card.
Focus. Put a climax hand to your way room and rest one of your stand up characters. When your character's trio checks reveals a climax with bar, pay the cost, salvage the climax. Put one bar from your climax area to your way room. Begin your on-call step, pay the cost. Choose one character from in your way room, turn your hat. Nothing else to say here.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, this is just the really bad /
so bad.
battling president combo. Yeah, I just don't know what you would do with this, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know. It's why
I mean-
this is getting replaced with something. We'll figure out what. Comment suggestions. Feel free to chime in, because this card is just like, what? And also it ties back again to the whole multiple cards on climax combos. We have Canada. We don't need this to combo with Canada. It doesn't do anything, but it also just combos on Canada's climax for no reason. Like, we don't need this.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, that okay. I like the logic of the idea. Like this feels like something that would work fine, work better as like a secondary combo. You're just kind of getting an extra little plus on top of whatever else you were doing. Like the president is even worse because that one is just that. That's all of the combo is. But this specific combo I think works better as a supplementary combo. If anything, like how you have it here, just find something better to supplement it with. I guess now I don't know the flavor or how this works or whatever, but now I almost wanna maybe I'm almost thinking like you can potentially rework the level 1 blue poison completely, since the bar kind of conflicts with the combo. Make it something that wants to like protect itself potentially, like an old school sort of combo that's slightly big, and then you can have this card supplemented, giving you a bonus salvage that can be like a counter or something to add extra protection to whatever that combo will become. That's just a random idea. It probably doesn't even fit in terms of the flavor. Yeah, I'm throwing it out there.
So, like, in the context of what this is representing, it's the idea that the thing that she's carrying in the level 3 combo, her signature weapon, is this weird ass experimental anti-drone weapon that she was the tester for, and then she just got to keep it because they're like, yeah, it's fine, you can hang on to that, whatever. And she got super obsessed with making this like better. It just kind of became her fixation. So the idea of like it being a supporter combo is better than nothing. But even though it's like the supplemental combo in this set that works, it still isn't really all that necessary because it's kind of
No,
it's sitting on this combo.
On top of
And
the
like,
Kanata, it doesn't really
Yeah.
make much sense.
we can definitely just take this, make it like a thing that does something else. We can move along here.
You have triggered my trap card.
You're telling me this is a thing that existed, or did you make this?
I made it.
Oh my god. Alright, I understand everything now.
I talked about the Moshu compilation in the previous one. At this point, we can just do like a general source uploads random stuff compilation.
Okay, I'll just read the card for now. Okay, Indigo, put a character hand to a room. When this card is placed on the stage from your hand, pay the cost. You do, so do deck for event, and pay 2. When this card put to your away room, you pay the cost. If you do, choose one character in your own room, return it to your hand. Grimace Shake.
There is context for this grimace shake. This is legitimately a thing that happened at one point. Is that Blue Poison has set aside, I believe it is actually a drink, not just like some baked good or something, but it's a drink with a little bit of a poison kick. Normal people, if they drink that, would have a lot of problems. But because it's indigo, she is slightly more resilient. So instead of just like dying on the spot, she just kind of like, I feel funny drinking this. So and then that's why it's an on death effects. It's the grimace shape. He got me. What can I say? Anyway, I like this combo of effects.
It's fine. It gets the job done. The on death pay 2 is, I think it's very underrated. On death pay 2 grab a thing. It's a perfectly fine second effect for the search for the event to come.
All right.
Poison kiss.
Back to the blue poison. God, she looks so cute.
Poison kiss.
Blue Poison waiting orders. When you play the event, choose one of your characters. Not character, I guess. X power. X is equal to your level times 1.5. Climax from your hand to your A room. When your character's trigger check reveals climax, you may pay the cost to choose the event or character in your A room. Return to your hand.
This feels so much better with this version of this event.
Yeah, for sure. Like, this is a very cool card. The problem I'm noticing now is that it fights for space with the double rare 2-1 in terms of what role it fulfills.
Very true.
You know, yeah, so a random idea I just thought of to maybe fix the problem is to maybe make this a brainstorm. Just, sometimes they have just 2-1 or even 3-2 back rows that just are brainstormed randomly without having to necessarily overlap with the assist part of the double rare. If you make this a brainstorm on top of these 2 effects, it can be more of a thing where you replace your old brainstorm with one that gives you more things to do while still keeping the slot for your assist. There's an argument you maybe don't want to replace your psychological damage card, but that'll be the concept.
I think what I'd actually rather
Right.
do is just put the brainstorm on the assist.
And move the assist to this one, maybe.
No, make the indigo a 2/1 assist with some kind of like a rest to brainstorm.
Thing is, you can't really go for a rest too because you want
You
to
need his
have
rest, yeah.
standing characters
Yeah,
for
so
the
I can just
event.
be like that. Yeah, it could just be like a
So-
rest one, like a rest on look 3. One of them brainstorms that actually is pretty common as far as green brainstorms go. Yeah,
it could even be like a spammable. It could be complementary anyway.
yeah, and then it'll allow her to trigger the. Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. I feel like this needs something else just to compete with whatever the doubler will become. I'm not sure what, but I definitely want this card to be good though because I really like these effects and how they would interact with playing the event and stuff.
I don't know. I think because this only hits one character with a power boost, having the assist on top of it actually makes a lot of sense. Like you have the one
Yeah.
lane of like super pump, but then you also have this indigo there to like give your other 2 lanes some support, and then it's also
Yeah, it
like
makes
the spam
sense.
brainstorm to set up the event.
Yeah,
I don't think these two have to
That's
compete
why.
with that.
Yeah, no, that's why I said to give this a brainstorm, just so that the idea of playing both of them doesn't sound that bad to people, because they probably want to keep their actual brainstorm usually. If this had just happened to have a normal brainstorm effect, then they wouldn't feel that bad saying, okay, I'm gonna play this one for the extra bonuses, and I don't feel bad that I'm losing the ability to have a normal brainstorm. That's the idea anyway.
I'm pretty sure the reason this profile already exists at this rarity, and if I threw a brainstorm on top of it, I feel like I would need to make it a rare and push something else down. And I feel like
don't
this is
think
fine the
so.
way it is.
I don't know. I think even with a brainstorm, this will be fine. Like 2/1 with weird effects are usually low rarity anyway, because they're not the conventional easy thing to use or whatever. But yeah, I like this. Like I'm gonna give it at least a C because I think it has like potential. It's I'm just afraid of whether it can find a room in the deck.
We will see. Speaking of cards that might have trouble fitting in the deck.
During Kilo, when the character's trigger check reveals climax of par, draw a card. If you do, choose one card in hand, put it away your room. Pay 2 to rest this card, heal.
Specifically a bottom clock heal.
I don't know why it's bottom specifically, but because that's cool. Well, yeah, this card, I think we said we literally have to make this a level 0 if you want this to have any sort of chance of being played. Either make the level 0 or put an extra assist on top of these effects and keep it as a 2/1, one of those two.
Right. Yeah, I went with the assist option, which means that I think the indigo is just no longer going to be a back row card, and we'll find something for it to do up front.
Okay, I guess that makes sense. The weird thing is that this is like a bar filter 2/1, and then we just saw another bar filter 2/1.
Can I?
So yeah,
maybe
there
we
is some weird overlap going on.
Maybe this could be a 1/1, even with an assist tacked onto it.
I mean, yeah, sure, it can definitely be a 1/1.
Yeah, that fixes that problem. Moving along.
Poison kiss.
Blue Poison, guard up. Climax from hand to waiting room. When this card is placed, stage, pay the cost. If you do, return 1 character from the waiting room to your hand. Return this card to your hand. When your climax is placed, climax area, pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your characters. That card gets 1k power till the end of opponent's turn. Not much to say here, just more Blue Poison.
More Blue Poison. She's a frog. She hops. Yeah.
I really like this profile, specifically how it's used in the set it's from, with this Dragon Maid, because this is just a you would think this is just like, oh, it's another standby enabling profile. It has the standby enabling return to hand effect. But no, Dragon Maid does not have standby, so it definitely couldn't be that. But this thinks is play anyway in Dragon Maid because the way this is set up, it's like the perfect card to put in an 8-bar deck because you get to filter out all of your extra bars to get characters, and then when you play even more of your bars that you're getting constantly in your hand, this returns to your hand to then be played again next turn to filter out more of your bars. I don't know, it works out in a very, very satisfying way that I really enjoy. I just like that you have the context of this return to hand effect, and it was able to find use without having to be specifically a standby card. And that's also something I've been trying to accomplish in my sets after I saw it. It's very fun. I don't know. It's very satisfying.
This gets
Like-
even better. I just realized this gets even better. Because on top of that, because it has that use in this set, because hey, the thing that I want people to play is 8-bar could play blue poison cards. But because the event rests a standing character, this is just a free stand for the event.
Yeah, that's definitely very good.
Ah,
Okay, actually, I just thought there is one. It's not actual anti-synergy, but because we have all of these sort of back row cards, sort of fighting for space, and we have a bit of a problem where I don't know if you have the space to put this out to do its thing like you would in Dragon Maid.
oh yeah, because Dragon Maid just has
Regardless
like
of that,
back row space.
yeah, Dragon Maid has like they play like the brainstorm and then they play a back row that it's one of those that sacrifices itself to save a character that just died.
Oh yeah, JC's.
So
okay.
you know it basically pays for itself at that point. So it goes away and then you have the room to play this again. That's like the main problem. Like this is a very satisfying card that I really like. With this set has so many like options for back rows that you might run into some choice paralysis in what you can actually go for.
I'll take that as a drawback. I feel that's kind of a problem I just have chronically as a set designer as well. Putting a bunch of cards that do all sorts of different things, but want to be in the back row to do them, just because that's where the interesting cards go. Except no, that's not true at all. But yeah, I can definitely see that being a thing for sure. And maybe that's okay with the 8-bar deck because maybe it just doesn't need to worry as much about that back row slot. Maybe you really can get away with like a brainstorm sometimes and doing something else. Because like I have that problem with even playing Weiss in just like in the Hololive piles, right? Like they have so many options, and it's like trying to like pull back, like hey, take less back row cards because you don't need all of them. You're not gonna see them all at once.
Yeah.
Just focus on the ones that make the happy chemicals go, which in this set, I feel like you can cut down. Like, you get the brainstorm. Yeah, you have your brainstorm. You can cycle this for some points of the game, but you also don't need it as like a chronic play either. So it can be like a flex slot for like, I really need the power right now. I'll play it. Oh, I'm fine with.
Yeah, this is a lot more flexible than a normal back row too.
Yeah.
That's definitely. And I'm also hearing that apparently there are bar standby builds in the set that you didn't think about.
Yeah.
So, you know,
That's
this
a
is
build.
sort of the perfect. This is the perfect sort of bridge between those. You know, it has the stamp, it has the effect that's traditionally for a standby, but it's also optimized for bar use. It does both of those things if you're playing bar standby, which is apparently a thing.
Yeah, Hades surprised me with it on stream, and I was just like, "Oh, this feels good. I like this the way you think, Magic Man." So yeah, well, we'll see how that develops. Anywho,
If another character with blue poison, this card gets 3k power and alarm.
what does the alarm effect
Just
do?
alarm.
Not all alarm effects do things.
No, you know, there is like one card that they misprinted where it just says alarm if this card is the top card of your clock. And that's where the effect ends.
Really?
I don't remember where it was, but it was very funny.
Okay, that's fair. The alarm effect is that beginning of your climax phase, one of your guys gets when this reverses your opponent, you can clock kick it or clock shuffle. What's that? Clock bomb it. There we go. That works. Anyway, it's here.
It's cool, I guess. I mean, you probably don't have room for this in modern sort of decks, but this used to be fine. I remember playing this in some of its stuff, something like this.
It might come up as your third lane with your level 1 combo, maybe.
Yeah,
Summon
maybe
Cave.
you play one
enough.
if you really need the removal option and you have nothing else.
Yeah.
Maybe you play one of it.
With one or less characters, this card gets +1 level and 2/5 power. Flavor.
Flavor win.
Because of isolation.
Lighthouse keeping is a very lonely
Fine,
job.
plus 0.
She gets to exist in a hypothetical dual laner thing that doesn't exist now, but who knows what the future holds. Anyway,
Who are you gonna call Ghost? Okay.
Oh, I
All right.
forgot about this. We have a third card
Who you
with
gonna
the same
call?
downside.
yeah, we found a different one for it. But yeah, when there's something strange in your neighborhood, you absolutely call her.
Alright, Ghost Hunting. All your opponent characters get on-call again, and when trigger check reveals climax with bar, whose character Wayward returns you hand.
Yeah, this is C for cope
Now,
because this effect is a bit cope, to be honest. But you know, it's cool.
you know that we were talking about the pay 2 for it to not swing drawback? This is where I ended up putting that, but thinking about it, it might be better, like swap the drawback that I gave this one and that other character. That's something to keep in mind. Moving right along.
Poison kiss.
Blue Poison, Present Surprise. Assist 500. Rest this card. Choose a character, that character gets 1k power. Rest this card. Choose a character in your opponent's backstage with level higher than the opponent's level. That character cannot stand during next stand phase.
This is a tech card.
Poison kiss.
You run a copy of
Yeah,
this,
like
maybe.
yeah, like I don't want to give it like I would usually say okay, it's a D or something, but I feel like when it's the good situation for this card, it's a really good situation. So I don't want to give it a D. So I'm just gonna say it's a tech card.
Yeah.
And leave it at that.
Like you play this against like Standby Gura isn't really going to be a thing right now. There's other standby in the world that this hits in Hollow Live. This says no, you don't get to do that. Stop early playing, you monster. You move along, and as we will move along to the last card in green.
Blue Poison in her skin. When you use backup, put top 3 cards deck to your way room. That's it.
Yeah, this is
It's
what
one of
it is.
the 3 skins, I believe.
Is it? Maybe it's been so long since I got this skin. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So this is my wallpaper background. Not this particular picture. I just love this skin. Like it's so cute. And yeah, we're just gonna make it go Benny. At least that card has like optionality to it. The skin just made me so happy. When they announced that Blue Poison was getting an outfit, I squealed like a little girl and went crazy and told my my Arknights buddy like I just went like absolutely feral on him. Fortunately, he is still alive and is willing to indulge the insanity that is sometimes these outbursts. But yeah, we'll make it better. And it'll be a better card. And it'll still sit in exactly this spot because these mill backups are still iffy. Even in like your optimized scenario. They had to make them 2k backups that give you options to maybe see play. That's it for green. I like that one. That's perfect. So yeah, obviously, green has its ups, its downs. It still needs some work. It has blue poison in it, and that means that it needs to be the best color. So I will continue tinkering. Next up is red, and we've already kind of alluded to the fact that there is a standby bar deck that Hades put together, and he didn't have a lot of time to like fine tune it. So I imagine that there's some real heights it could go to. But just looking at what we have seen so far, is there anything that we think that we really want to see happen in red.
I just hope the context of standby doesn't break anything too much.
We'll see. I don't think so. There are definitely some
We'll see.
good cards in standby. There are definitely some very good things you can do in this set with that. We'll get back to those next time. Until then, have a good one, folks.